Execute Order 266 of Ask MandRproductions, a series where I answer your questions. If you have a question about LEGO, myself, Star Wars, or really anything, you can leave it down in the comments section below for next week's episode. Our first question this week comes from Henry, who says, what minifigure is worth way too much and you don't think is even good? So I looked up a list of the most expensive LEGO Star Wars minifigures and I was drawn to two. And ironically, they both exist and are expensive because of the same reason, more or less, and that is their limited run within LEGO Star Wars sets, in which they would have otherwise existed for the full run and have not been special, rare, or expensive. Anyway, it's Blackhair Kanan and Finch Dallow. They are both standard run-of-the-mill minifigures to me, nothing special about them, other than the fact that they were only available in these otherwise widely available LEGO Star Wars sets for a limited run of those sets' existence. In the case of Blackhair Kanan, only at the very beginning of the availability of the Ghost, and in the case of Finch Dallow, only at the very end of the availability for the Resistance Bomber. And that, I only believe it was ever released at like Toys R Us's and Walmart's in Canada, but I certainly never saw them on shelves in America, and also, I don't believe there exists any European boxes of the Finch Dallow Resistance Bomber. I might be wrong, but I do believe that to be the case, which means they were only ever released in America. Just weird stuff. But yes, those figures are worth way too much money. They're worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars because they were only available for a short time. Not that that's a bad thing or an abnormal thing, but I just think they're way too much money for what they are when they were otherwise available in regular sets. Motion Brick says, do you think the upcoming Yavin 4 playset will look like the concept? That concept set was created at least 15 years ago at this point, so I don't expect it to look all that similar. If anything, it'll share a similar color. I believe the new Yavin set has that micro scale wiring, which should fit in a hanger down in the bottom center of the base, but it's gonna be a much smaller, more compact base, maybe about the same height as the concept, but generally after 15 years, especially with something like this, where it's like they get a little bit more liberty to play around with how it looks, it's gonna look substantially different than what we saw previously. It should definitely still incorporate the main key features that we saw in that original Yavin-based concept, like the watchtower, like maybe part of the celebration scene and some of the meeting rooms and stuff, but generally it's going to be a much different set, and it's not going to use base plates either. I know the original concept used base plates and had a pretty sprawling area. This is not going to be that. There's a pretty decent chance a big chunk of people will find the build to be ugly, but it is a tried and true playset for sure that's coming out. Lemonk says, will LEGO ever release a concept Star Wars set like the concept Darth Vader Funko Pop did? It's practically what's happening with the Season 3 Mandalorian sets at this point, though. Oh, shots fired. They released the concept Luke Skywalker in LEGO Star Wars the video game. Now, LEGO Star Wars the video game and LEGO Star Wars the physical product are two different things, but it is there in some form of LEGO Star Wars. I know it's not the Darth Vader, it's not a full set, but I think the opportunity to have released a concept minifigure like that Luke Skywalker was a perfect opportunity to happen on May 4th in lieu of what I called the perfect LEGO Star Wars May 4th promo. But as many of you may have picked up on because you're so smart, it's not actually the perfect May 4th promo. So yeah, I think that Luke Skywalker would have gone great with $85 purchases, and it's in the game. So it comes out in the game at the same time that it comes out as a promo for the official LEGO figure. Like, what a great crossover of your stuff, but they can't do that because no one's on the same page at LEGO Star Wars anymore. So yeah, I don't see it happening. I mean, never say never, of course, but like most of these things seem to be like a Black Series and Funko Pop thing where they'll do cool, random, weird stuff, and LEGO Star Wars will release a Stormtrooper with a slightly changed torso print. Cooper, hitting where it hurts this week, the wallet, says, what investment, LEGO or not, hurt your finances the most? That would certainly be just general Robinhood investing. I've done some bad things. Well, good for other people when it goes well, I suppose, but I did a little bit of like options trading, which, I mean, I've won on some option trades, and I've lost on others, but generally have lost. And then cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dogecoin. So my lifetime on Robinhood, I only started putting money in there at like late 2020. I'm lifetime over the course of like 3 years now, almost, about 2.5, down 20% on that investment, or the total I've like had recurring investment. I didn't all invest it in one day when I started. I would say that, but the money that I have in there now is much more long-term, safer investments like S&P 500 stuff. I'm playing a little bit safer now. Jack Stone And I don't know if you know this, but your name is literally the name of the Lego character, Jack Stone. I don't know if you did that on purpose or if that's actually your name. If it's actually your name, it's kind of cool. But he says, have you ever gotten a Lego set from Walmart and had fake Lego in it? I have a picture to prove it. I believe you. It happens. I've definitely seen comments over the years. It's definitely a problem that has existed in the past and will continue to persist. Basically, what happens is some thief comes in, buys a Lego set at whatever price it costs. They take it home. They rip it out of the box. They take the like good high value Lego stuff out of it. Sometimes they'll just take the figures out. It's gonna vary depending on what kind of thief you're dealing with. But they'll take out whatever they want to take out and then they'll replace it with something else so that it weighs about the same so that when they go return it to the cashier at Walmart, they can get their money back. So if they bought a $100 set, they got their $100 back, and then they sell the thing online or whatever for 50 bucks and they make 50 bucks. Like that's how that sort of scam works, just so you know. If you want to try to avoid this, you can try to look closely at seals to make sure they haven't been tampered with, although you can definitely get around Lego seals. Nothing is a guarantee. The best thing Lego ever did to try to counteract this was in 2018. They had like a thing that you had to rip off of the box to be able to open the box. I have no idea why that was only a one-time thing in like the summer of 2018 and then it hasn't really continued since. But they don't really have anything that's going to be super obvious or untamperable for Lego sets now. But it's not like, I don't think it's the biggest problem. Like I don't think it's happening to everyone and anyone, but it definitely can happen to you. And so you just have to be a little bit careful, especially if you're Walmart of all places. But I would highly suggest bringing it back to the Walmart that you bought it at and telling them what happened so that they can keep an eye out and try to figure out who is doing this at their store. And then they can tell the police and the police can go after them and all that sort of stuff. They'll also probably give you your money back. Silas says, do you think Lego will screw up the Captain Rex minifigure? It'd be nice if they got it right for a change. Boy, it would be nice. But over the weekend, we had a leaked image of the new Captain Rex minifigure from the UCS Venator. When I first saw this image, I thought it might be real, but it definitely looked decaled and a little bit too shiny. The Rex here definitely looks like it's not legitimate, but if this is the way the Rex in the UCS Venator is, I will be extremely disappointed. I've been pretty clear with what I think the Rex should be. It should have a hole only on one side in the proper spot for the antenna, so you should have a helmet for solely antennas and the flashlights, and then he should have a physical waist cape. However, this almost absolutely is what Lego is going to do. Now, if Lego does what I just suggested and makes a helmet that only has a hole on one side and the waist cape is back in its physical form, again, for a $650 Ultimate Collector Series sets aimed towards adults who care about the accuracy of minifigures and how they look on display, it doesn't matter if the minifigure can sit down or not with its cloth waist cape because it's in a UCS set where it's going to be standing on the display stand. I rest my case. If they do that and make the figure as good as it dang well should be, I will give them all the praise in the world. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, and come time for my review video, I will probably be pretty harsh on the Rex figure because for a $650 set, it just should be perfect, and it's not going to be. I expect it to be the one blemish on the Venator. I think the Yavin figure in the set's going to be amazing. I think the Venator is going to be amazing. I don't expect them to screw up the box art. I think they know. So I think the Rex is the only question mark really for that set for a lot of people. Which is unfortunate because it shouldn't be. It should just be only the best is good enough and we're going to get it right, and don't worry fans, but the fans should be worried because Lego does not have a good track record with the quality of their clone troopers. Moving on to Yodaman 2903 or 08, I can't tell, the number's too small, says, when is the Lego Mandalorian Spider Tank releasing? That one's coming out August 1st, my dude, so not in this May 1st wave that came out yesterday, but I did pick your question earlier so I could show people the box art. If you haven't seen, they did release the box art for the Spider Tank as well as the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter Microfighter. Pretty boring box art. The Microfighter box art looks to be the exact same, if not almost the exact same as the N1 Starfighter from 2022. And then the Spider Tank is just, I mean, it's inside the caves, I guess. It looks like the caves, but it's just, I don't know, boring box art generally for both of the sets. Not that it really matters, I suppose, for all the commenters that'll tell me it doesn't matter. But yeah, I wasn't like taken aback by how cool the box art was. And then we have a question from J2 who says, if you had to put money on what clone battle pack would come out next, not the 332nd, what Legion do you think it would be? Thanks. Well, I think we're well overdue for just regular clone troopers. I know a lot of people are going to want shock troopers given the gunship. You know, we wanted 212th given the ATT and that didn't happen, so I'm going to go with that as the track record and say that's not going to happen. But I do think regular clones are so far overdue that that would probably be what would be next. I mean, we get 3 regular snow troopers in a battle pack. What's so hard about putting 3 regular clone troopers in a battle pack. Benedict says, are you planning to do a clone army in 2023? Yes, I've said for a while that I wouldn't do a clone army until I moved. Obviously I've moved now. However, still a big chunk of like my clone army ships are at my parents' house. But I kind of figured it out the other day of what I'm gonna probably do. The UCS Venator is coming out, and I think that'd be a pretty sick centerpiece to a clone army video, and as well as the gunship in September, and then maybe a few of those 330-second battle packs. I really don't plan on buying more than 1 or 2 because they're gonna have the ugly helmet holes, and I just can't do it anymore. But I do plan on doing a clone army video this year after this summer wave comes out, so probably October, November-ish of this year in the winter, when I have the UCS Venator built and ready and I can get a couple, maybe 3, 4 of those gunships would be pretty cool. I need to build some more of my ATTs, but this year we'll absolutely have a clone army video. It's long overdue. It's one of the questions I get the most, is why I don't do them every year. One of the reasons is it just takes forever to set up. It's like a week-long process of setup and teardown, so it's not something I can do every year. Lily Doodle says, is the 5 times VIP points a better value than a Black Friday discount on May 4th here? It varies by region, but there's like 5 sets that have 5 times VIP points in America, and it's a good time to buy those sets if you are stacking up to get the promos, because you can buy the sets, you're getting 25% back in VIP points. The 5 times VIP points deal is really good. Like, it really is really good. The Justifier with 5 times VIP points plus the promos, if you go and sell them, I talked about it in my video, you're basically looking at about $100 effectively for that Justifier. So I think you can do really well. Obviously go in, do your own math, look at your own stuff if you're gonna decide to sell certain things or if you're gonna keep certain things, what it's worth to you to keep, that sort of stuff. But yeah, the 5 times VIP points should not be slept on. This is not something that happens all too often, although this is the first time, which means LEGO Star Wars is getting desperate to sell some of their things because they made some mistakes, but we'll see what happens. The Advanced Gamer puts a smile on my face today with this question. It says, have you heard of the LEGO convention that travels around called Brickfest Live? My friend and I went when they came to town nearby recently, and I swear it is the biggest scam for actual LEGO fans ever. They have no actual real LEGO dealers there, upcharge for retail sets, and charge a ridiculous amount to get in. They also have nothing but some terrible mocks when you get in. Love your content and thoughts would be appreciated. So Brickfest Live, as far as I'm aware, from every experience I've ever heard from both fans like you and friends of mine, I had a friend that went recently and he said he hated it too. It's not a great time, not worth your money, and you seem to be echoing the same thing here. So you say they have no real dealers. They definitely don't anymore. So from what I have heard, they got rid of all of the vendor people. So they no longer allow outside people to come in and vend and have a competitive market within the convention. It is now just the Brickfest Live people that run it that sell stuff at their convention. And apparently, I believe they get stuff directly from LEGO somehow. And so, yeah, you say they upcharge for retail sets too. Again, these are things they're getting directly from LEGO at wholesale. Apparently, allegedly, from what I've heard, I don't know for sure, but if that's the case. So yeah, if you are a real LEGO fan, as you say, I think Brickfest Live is a stay away. I think there are much better LEGO fan conventions out there. Personally, this year, I'll be at Brickworld Chicago in the middle of June. I'll be at Brick Fair Virginia at the beginning of August. And then there's another convention. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's going to be in Tampa, I believe, also in like mid-August. And I'm definitely going to go to that one. I know the guy that runs it. He was a really nice guy. I met him in Atlanta when they did one. And so I'm going to go to the one down here. But definitely do your research on these conventions. Look up some reviews or even better, like YouTube videos of people that have gone to the conventions, and you can kind of see video of what the convention is going to look like, and that'll give you a much better idea of what you're getting into than going to the website of the convention, because it's probably obviously tilted one way. Mr. Ketchup wants to know if there's any online platforms I recommend for LEGO trading. Now, I've never used these, but I know of them, so I wouldn't say I recommend them and give them my stamp of approval that you won't get scammed or anything, but there's a subreddit, I believe, called LEGO Trade or LEGO Trading. I'll put it on screen now and you'll be able to see what it is, but I know that people trade LEGO on there, and that might be a good place for you, and I believe you can see people's track records by going into their Reddit history and stuff and make sure that they're like good people that you're trading with. And then, not necessarily one in particular, but there are definitely going to be Facebook groups for this kind of thing, and that's probably not a bad place to be to do some LEGO trading within America. And you can probably like sort it by region and find a group that fits for you. So I'm not a huge Facebook person anymore. It's not 2011 anymore. Hopefully those are 2 directions I can point you in that'll get you to the place you want to be for that sort of thing. Lewis says, are you getting pushed by LEGO prices to stop buying sets as well? I feel after a few more sets, I will fully focus on mocks. Hey, that might be a great thing for you. I am what you would call an inelastic consumer. I am not going to change my purchasing habits dependent on the price of LEGO, but People have said Lego's too expensive forever. It's nothing new. It's not, you know, them raising prices now and it being expensive is no different than it was expensive 10 years ago. But having had about 15 years experience in the online Lego space, I'll tell you, there's one thing that never changes, and that's every time Lego sets come out, people say they cost too much money. I don't know how to tell you it's different now than it was 10 years ago, but you know, if that's the way you feel, I don't blame you. Jedi Bob says, are you planning on making other mocks besides Hoth? I think we need to get through one here first. There are some things that I've always wanted to do, like clone. I'll do a clone mock probably after, just because I want to do some clone shipper stuff, and I think that'd be popular on the channel just as a general thing. But Hoth was always going to be the first big one I tackled. That is going to do it for this week's Ask MandR. If you did enjoy, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and make sure you guys sign up for Whatnot using my link in the description below. Get your free $15 credit, and come on into my live stream Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. You can use that $15 credit, and you can get one of the 2/12 foil packs. You just have to pay for shipping. Otherwise, your $15 credit will cover the cost of the pack. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week or on tomorrow's video, which is either a review of the UCS X-Wing, if the UCS X-Wing review didn't come out yesterday, or it's another video about something else. Who knows? Bye.